Hey guys, HermdoGG here. We recently finished Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin. No case, because I don't have a hard copy of that one. Yep. There we go. And with 41 bosses to choose from, we decide which ones are the most frustrating, most annoying, and most importantly, most difficult. And I'm going to be honest, I did find the vast majority of the bosses in Dark Souls 2 to be much easier than the ones in Dark Souls 1 or in Bloodborne. This could be because I'm becoming a Soulsborne expert, or they're just easier. Let me know down below. Anyways, here are my top 10 hardest bosses in Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin. Smelter Demon comes in at number 10, and you heard it right, it's Red Smelter Demon. The OG. These lists are based off my experience with the game as a first impression, and honestly, the Red Smelter gave me much more trouble than the Blue did. Both are obvious in what not to use against them. Red, don't use fire. Blue, don't use magic. But Red is encountered much earlier than Blue. Possibly while you're still trying to learn the new mechanics of this Dark Souls game, since each game has different leveling for some FromSoft only knows reason. The boss is also at the end of a very annoying run back, while Blue Smelter's run back is annoying, but not quite as annoying. As for the actual fight, it's not that bad, just dodge and attack when you can. Smelter's not too quick, just need to pay attention and you'll get the damage in. Smelter took me 4 attempts total, 11 or 12 if you count the times I died on that stupid run back. Lost Sinner is an odd boss for Dark Souls. While most bosses are large, slow, and lumbering, Sinner is one of the few that is small and quick. She can close the distance quickly, and her attacks can lock you down if you have low poise, like I always seem to. Her battle also has the gimmick that it can be in the dark, if you don't know to light the fires outside the arena. Lighting the fires doesn't change the battle too much, just now it's easier to see her. Does it make it any easier? Depends on your style. It did for me, as I can now see if it was clear to heal, but for some it may not make a difference. Also, side note, for some reason in New Game Plus, this fight adds 2 pyromancers to it, and the pyromancers live even after the boss dies, so you gotta take them out. In the end, she took me 8 tries. She was the first Lord Soul I acquired, and maybe she would have been easier if I fought her later in my run, but as she stands, she was more difficult than the vast majority of the bosses in the game, including the DLCs. Ah, Freya. Because what would a FromSoft game be without a giant spider? Well, I guess it would be Sekiro. Are there spiders in Sekiro? I'm honestly not sure. Anyways, let's talk about Freya. Freya is a large spider, surrounded by baby spiders, similar to Rom from Bloodborne. Remember her? Well, Freya is bigger and much more aggressive, and also actually looks like a spider. Freya also has 2 heads. Did I mention that? 2 spider heads, even more fun. You can only damage the heads, so you need to be near these scary things. Even more fun. If you damage one head too much, thinking you figured out this spider's moves, the head will fall off and you'll need to figure out how to get to the other one. And this, all after you have to run through an area full of the baby spiders Freya is surrounded by, just to get to Freya. I killed so many spiders and I don't feel bad about it. Freya took me 4 attempts, and while I did not know the little spiders are afraid of torches, I'm not sure that would have helped too much in the boss fight, or at least for me, based on my preferred playing style. Got it. These bosses are taking so many less attempts than in Dark Souls 1 or Bloodborne. You should totally subscribe to see if I get any better or if I've peaked. And like the video so others can bask in my greatness. Okay, sorry. Back to the list. Fuck these guys. These 3 just gank you repeatedly, with 2 always chasing you and 1 shooting you with a fucking great bow from a distance. Figuring out how to separate them to divide and conquer is the main issue, but once you figure that out, it's still an annoying ass fight. Because, let's be honest, you didn't figure it out. You didn't do it correctly. Someone's going to gank you, you messed up, it's not going well. And this is another one with an annoying run back that makes you run through a large number of enemies with potential to petrify you. I even broke my rule of no summons for these guys, and the summons got me to the boss and then promptly died, leaving me with just HB buff 3-on-1. Fun time, guys, fun time. They took me 3 attempts, but that was enough with the run back to earn their place on this list. You like Toxic? I hope you do, because these rats are bringing Toxic. You like Sith with Toxic? We've got Sith with Toxic too. This fight wouldn't be anywhere near as bad if there weren't the 4 little rat dogs. By the way, did you know that these rats are part dog? The things you learn while researching a video. And they're stupid fucking toxic. You need to take them out before you can worry about the big rat, but the big rat is not going to just let you do that for free. Honestly, the only good thing about this fight is that the bonfire is literally right outside the fog gate, so there is no run back for every attempt. Took me 10 attempts, but without a real run back, I was able to do 10 attempts in quick succession and take down this stupid fucking boss. So, these guys may have made it a little higher up on the list as I fought them a little early in my playthrough, but I think they still deserve to be on the list. First, it's a 3-on-1. While you can fight the first one in the small area in a 1-on-1 fight, the others won't let that happen after you finish the first one, forcing you into a 2-on-1. If you fall off this small ledge before killing the first one, it becomes a 3-on-1. Add to that, these guys have attacks that can surprisingly cover large areas and close some distance. It's definitely a harder fight if you don't know what you're getting into. These guys took me 8 attempts. Not too many, but they definitely earned their spot with the 3-on-1 style fight, as well as the range that they surprisingly have with their attacks. Okay, we're done with the mandatory bosses in the main game. The rest are all either optional or are in the DLCs. Okay, now we're getting into some real hard bosses. Ancient Dragon is an optional boss that you may not even realize was a boss. It gives you the Ashen Mist and you could simply leave and never see him again. But if you decide to attack him, he will try to make you regret it. The best strategy is to try to hug his back toes, but if you don't know how to do that just right, he will punish you for this. His stomps can hit you with their shockwave alone and dish out a lot of damage. If he flies up, you only have time to try to get out of the way and hope you made it far enough. Everyone told me to run towards his tail, but sometimes you just can't do it fast enough and he breathes fire down on you from above. It only takes 2 hits from this fire to kill you, and the breath attack can last long enough for you to recover from it and get hit again. This fight took me 10 attempts, with each attempt having to annoyingly climb up the dragon shrine back to the top. Dark Lurker is probably the most annoying boss in the entire game just to find. You need to complete 3 dungeons full of NPCs and light a beacon in each. After completing the 3rd of these weird little dungeons, you drop down and face the Dark Lurker. But to enter these dungeons, you need to offer human effigy, and if you fail to beat the Dark Lurker the first time, you'll have to complete one of the dungeons a second time after offering another human effigy. Human effigies are kind of an important item in this game. The actual fight with the Dark Lurker isn't awful until the start of the 2nd phase. He splits into 2, and losing sight of one can lead to disaster. He took me 7 attempts, but probably close to about 20 if you count the amount of times I didn't make it through the stupid dark chasm. Alright, we're done with the main game. The final 2 are from the DLCs. Do you know what they are? Pick your guess down below and then watch the rest of the video. Sir Elan was the first time I felt like I had truly hit a brick wall. He has one of the hardest runbacks in the game, having to enter a memory and run past a large number of Elan Knights. And it is very annoying having to enter this memory every time to have another chance to face him. It's not like it's hard to enter the memory, but it adds another loading screen, making you sit there and dwell on your failure. This is almost the worst runback in the entire game. And you will fail. Elan has a variety of attacks that can hit from almost any distance. He also varies the timing between his attacks, making it more difficult to dodge. Combined with his attacks dealing massive damage, this fight was hard. Not sure how many more ways to describe it, but I died 13 times to Alan, finally conquering him on lucky number 14.
Got him. Fuck you.
Alright, we've only got one boss left, and I think it's going to surprise some of you. In my opinion, the hardest boss in Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin is... Doubt anyone saw this coming. I honestly thought Alan was going to be the top of the list until I got to these guys. The game didn't really have a lot of bosses that gave me trouble, with me one-shotting over 1/4 of the bosses in the entire game. But there was only one boss fight that frustrated me beyond anything else in this game, and it was Ludenzala. What is so frustrating about this boss? Getting to it without getting rammed up your ass by Rudolph and his demented friends. I'm glad they didn't let him play the reindeer games after this fucking bullshit. Look at this. There's almost zero visibility except for brief periods when the storm stops. You have to travel so far in these conditions, constantly being attacked by Krampus's reindeer, while somehow maintaining your general sense of direction. Did you know I looked up which direction to go here? Because if I didn't, I would probably still be there, and I needed to finish the game on that stream, so fuck the cats. And what's your reward for finally getting to the end of this winter nightmare land? Ava times 2. Well, okay. Each have less health than Ava, but there are 2 of them, so in the end it's more HP. It's also a 2-on-1 fight against 2 large cats with powerful AoE attacks. Also my weapon of choice, Poke Swords, seem to be awful against them because they sometimes just miss. I didn't have any other weapons to match this damage, so this is really all I had. What the fuck? Fexture Life says they're weak to thrust? That's just great! And I also broke my rule of no summons for these guys. Not so much because Ludenzala were impossible, but because I needed more security in just getting to them. So, they get a fucking 4-on-2, and I get to finish the game. These guys only took me 7 attempts, only counting the times I actually made it to them. Counting the times I never made it and died in those frigid wastelands, it took way too many. I can only imagine how long it would have taken without the summons escorting me to the arena. So that's my top 10 hardest bosses of Dark Souls 2. What do you think? Agree? Disagree? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, check out my other top 10 hardest bosses list from Dark Souls and Bloodborne. I'll see you next time. Until then, take care now. Bye bye then.